Previously on Amassers Bitcoin price targets at the top of the week.
And I do these market maker boxes at the top of every week. And you can see we broke out of the box, but now we're starting to come back to this support area. Okay. I think there was a little reaction here, and we were selling off on gold. Also, you can see this huge movement here, back here. We could have been filling in that invisible gap, but this trade, which was looking like a risk off trade, is guys sell out of gold and maybe get into equities and other more speculative assets. This is right now starting to unwind. So I'm back with another, hopefully pretty fast video. I want to talk about what went on this week and do a quick little weekly wrap up. I'm really trying to give up some sauce in this video, guys. Okay, I'm gonna also cover what happened in gold, and you can see from that clip right there, I was kind of trying to give some cats the heads up in my interpretation of what I was seeing on the charts about gold. And of course, we're going to look at Bitcoin, but we're going to start where we always start, which is right here on our site at Amassers.com. One thing I talked about this week at the top of the week was our weekday high and lows. And you can see that on our heat map here, we had a lot of heat on Monday, for both the highs and the lows of the week. Now, when we start off this week, you can go back and look at that video, or really, I'll just post this at the top. You can tell that we were at 88K, and we were approaching. Well, how do you know? Is this the high of the week? Is this the low of the week? You really don't know to the end of the week, but you know that there's statistically a probability that we're somewhere in some of this area. Either we're on the high of the week or we're on the low of the week. Myself, I personally look at the stats, and the stats are always right there. Are we closer to the average swing up or closer to the average swing down? We were closer to up, so my assumption was that we were probably putting in our highs at 88K, and that is what happened on this week. We put in those highs on Bitcoin at 88K, and we had a lot of really tight sideways trading right around the top of that market maker box and true to form, because again, I mention this all the time, guys. This is the last Friday of the month, and so we had a lot of, hokey, let's call it, from the market makers. The house always wins in the end, and when those options expire, when those contracts are up, they're gonna make sure that the market is where they need it to be in order for it to be another profitable endeavor for them. And that's why you get a lot of these shocks at the end of the week. So I'm not really that concerned at this point, because I was expecting something like this around the end of the week. What else I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about gold. Now, remember that video clip that I just showed at the first of this? This is gold, and here we are. That's around where we were at the video. This is that candle that was forming as I was shooting the video, and I was cautioning you guys that it may look like we're on a risk off, or starting to get into a kind of risk on position, because gold was showing these inclinations to the downside. But at the end of the day, gold still was over $3,000. Okay, when we got close to that weekly statistical low, and that's around where I got in, there's that pump right there, and that trade just started to unwind, and you see these guys making that rotation all the way up here to the statistical average swing up. Coming here and touch on gold really quick and show you guys what happened with this trade, and talk about that rotation, which I pointed out at the top of the week. Gold will often be compared to Bitcoin, but in reality, when this trade starts to turn and we start to see guys rushing into gold, and it's more of a risk off scenario like we saw this week, then those guys are going to rotate right back into gold. And as these guys were running into gold, you saw what happened with Bitcoin on the week. On my channel, we try and keep it real up in here. What's the only thing that's up over here? Pax Gold, that trades along with gold. Or I talk about on a previous video, gold. But I want to show you guys something. We changed our volatility model, upgraded it a little bit, and we also added, I don't know if you can see this. Hold on just a second. We also added this little star here. Now this star is really just another way of looking at, this is the long-term trend. When there is a long-term trend, for example, right here, you could see right now the only thing that's up as far as the last 30 days relative to the highs and the lows, it's gold. Okay, it's at the top, and that earned it a star over here for the volatility profile to the upside. We put these in. Everybody's not going to get a star. Sometimes there's something that's just, even on a longer term, is trending down, and they're going to get a star on the other side. Okay, but there's a lot of stuff just falling to oblivion today. But I believe these models that we're using to profile volatility, along with the longer term trend, is really going to make our crypto screener even more easier to read, and even more in line, in sync with the market. Men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. And this is a $18.4 trillion market, as opposed to Bitcoin, the whole crypto market itself, less than 3 trillion. That's all I got for right now, guys. See you guys on the next video. Once again, this is Alfred for Amassers.com. See you on the next one. Peace.